Hello, YouTube. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Anne Marie, The Art of Healing. I am coming on today. First of all, hello to those of you who don't know me. Thank you for being on my channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I am coming on today to just, as I always do, share with you events that happen in my life, because if they happen in my life, then they're happening in your lives somewhere. And I think it's important. This is how I teach. This is how I roll. So I went through a really compressed time. I was feeling rejected, dejected, left behind, completely frustrated with my life, with my situation. I felt like the world was leaving me behind and I had no fucking weird place to go. I wanted to just escape from my life. I just saw 111. After feeling that, I had an experience that brought me to an event in my past. I am a part of a spiritual community, and this particular person, if you're a part of the spiritual community, you'll know what I'm talking about. There was an event that was advertised. Hey, if you were influenced by this particular person and the head of the spiritual community, we would like you to volunteer to channel. If you were influenced by her and as a result of her work, you began to channel, which is totally what happened to me. We'd like to know, and we're holding this event, and we'll contact you, etc. I realized that the event is coming up in a couple of weeks and I was never contacted. So I thought to myself, I'm going to be rejected. She's not choosing me. And my ego reacted very strongly. So when I finally figured out, from the get-go, there was this voice in the back of my head going, you're not going to get chosen. You're not going to get chosen. You just watch. She's going to choose somebody else. She's done this to you before. She's going to choose other people. She's not going to acknowledge you. So that voice of rejection, fear, distrust, my ego, the past, was running in the background. And then a couple of days ago, I reached out to a friend of mine and I said, hey, are you going to be speaking at the conference? And she's texted back, yes, I'm going to be speaking. And I was like, shit, it's true. The voice was right. I was rejected again. And then I reached out to somebody else and they were like, yeah, I'm going to be talking. I can't wait, blah, blah, blah. So, interesting though, because my physical body did not react in sadness. I didn't cry. I didn't have a physical reaction. I had an ego reaction. The ego mind reacted and was like, wanted me to cry. But my physical body didn't, but my ego mind did. I overreacted. Oh, I'm devastated. This is horrible. And I started to act out like my ego wanted me to act out. So I was calling people. I was reaching out to people, which is what I do when I get into ego and I get into panic. Oh, this is so horrible. Blah, blah, blah. So I started to react and I was taken back to a very similar situation that happened about 25 years ago. The church that I was working for here in Florida, the music director was a very similar type of personality. Brilliant at what she did. She was a brilliant music director, one of these savant composers, pianists, sopranos. And I so admired the way that she communicated to the choir, and I learned everything that I knew from this music director. And I worked really, really, really hard for her, for this church. I mean, I did it for her. I didn't do it for her. I did it for God, right? But I mean, I used to show up for every funeral, every wedding they told me to come. 24 hours notice, I would find somebody to watch my kids. I was at church sometimes Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday evening, 2 masses. I literally worked for them. It was I did it for the money, and I did it because I enjoyed it, and because I kind of felt like I had to. Anyway, this director, however, didn't connect with me emotionally. She was very kind of like up there in her own thoughts, was very much her personality. And she would look me over for things. And the way I looked at it at the time was, I am working for you. I'm giving you everything. And you don't approve of me by giving me a solo at like a concert, let's say. And I remember I was so devastated because I was looking at it like, what more do I have to do to prove to you that I am worthy of this acknowledgement? And I remember I was so devastated that I actually had to go to counseling with her and the priest because I was just distraught over her not choosing me for this particular concert. It was a celebration for our pastor, who was 25 years a priest. And I sang in the choir, but I was not given a solo. And there were tons of solos. It's not like there weren't any solos. So at the time, I was relating work with, I don't know, I guess, acknowledgement. So this is a pattern in my life. It's like, what do I have to do to get acknowledgement? It was a very tough. It was a very tough thing, and so I had buried that. But with this supposed rejection, which it wasn't a rejection at all. It wasn't a rejection at all. It was just what it was. But my ego wanted me to fight. My ego was like, well, I'm going to stop subscribing. I'm not even going to attend. I'm going to just drop all my support. And it was quite an interesting reaction. So here's the point. When you walk a spiritual journey of forgiveness, and you begin to look at your emotions from a third point of view. So you're not looking at your emotions from the conflict. You pull yourself out of the conflict and you observe. And you ask yourself why. So one of the things in the spiritual community is that we generate our own experiences. We live in a reflective universe, and therefore our actions and thoughts, etc., generate our experience. So I had to ponder this because I don't believe that I consciously generated this experience. I believe that the experience, all right, technically, yeah, it was generated by my oversoul, by my guides and teachers to bring up the fact that I have a belief system of kind of tit for tat. And it was reflected in other experiences that I had previously in this week. A lot of feelings of abandonment, like I'm not good enough, like you should do for me what I do for you, okay? Which is not healthy. We should never do things with expectation of return. So in other words, this spiritual teacher of mine has no obligation to me at all. And I, through my giving, honor her for her work. But I truly have no obligation from her for her either. You know what I mean? I hope this is making sense. So now, where am I now? So I have looked at these emotional reactions. I do not believe that I generated this experience from a point of view other than to just be aware that I still have a belief system, a trauma that I need to heal from. And so this was a loving thing that my guides created for me to show me, Anne-Marie, you still have a trauma program running within you. So it was reflected in how I felt previously about being abandoned, about not being good enough, feelings of lack. And it caused great turbulence with my relationship with my beloved, with my relationship with my mother and my children. And it reflected in my life. And then this other relationship, this other trauma from the past came up and made itself known. That I have a trauma of rejection that I need to heal. So observing my reaction, observing the situation from a third party view, like from a detached view, made me see what it is that I needed healing. So I needed to heal the thought pattern that my work, my service deserves a pat on the back, a tap on the head. I need to understand that I am good and whole in just doing what I love, that no one, nowhere needs to give me accolades. When I receive accolades, I accept them with grace, but they are not why I do what I do. And it reflects in my singing, it reflects in my spiritual work. I am grateful for the accolades that I receive. I am grateful and honored that people look to me for healing, for advice, and for guidance. And I love them. I love them in my life. It is so beautiful that all of you are in my life. And I just want you to know that we are all going through healing. Even I go through healing. And if I'm going through healing, you're going through healing. You're going through the need to observe the reactions that you have to situations in your life from a detached perspective and a perspective of love. You are not a victim of the world you see. You are an observer of this world, and it is your mission to weed out. My tummy just bubbled because I'm hungry. It is your mission to weed out what does not serve you, these deep held beliefs, these traumas from the past, from your past lives, from your past in this life. Everything is going to come to the surface now because you cannot have it in order to ascend. So be thankful that you go through these dark, difficult situations, these emotional situations, because they are merely bringing lovingly to the surface what needs to be healed. And you heal by loving yourself. I am Anne-Marie, the Art of Healing. Thank you for being a part of my life. I love each and every one of you, and believe me, it is the truth. Namaste. Be well and be blessed.